Good evening and welcome to the Next Gen Genealogy Education Hangout for August, what's the day's date? August 21st, 2014. My name is Shannon Combs Bennett and I am the Education Chair for the Next Gen Society. Unfortunately, and I have a feeling it's because it's the end of the summer, all of my guests for tonight have canceled again. So you get to just listen to little old me talk. But thankfully, I have a lot of expertise and insight on the subject tonight, which is taking children with you to do on-site research at repositories. So since I don't have anyone talking to me this evening, I do have some questions and some topics that were sent in to me earlier that people would like me to address since they couldn't be here this evening. And I'll just talk a little bit about my experiences taking my kids with me, the things that have happened, answer the questions that were asked of me earlier, and it shouldn't take too long. Not like when we get 3 or 4 people together and we start rambling on. So essentially, I have some tips and advice that I'd like to give you if you are a younger genealogist and you have children, no matter their age. I've taken my children as long as the repository would let me from toddlerhood on. I have a teenager now, but that's my first piece of advice. My first tip is make sure you know what the rules are for the repository you're going to. Some of them do not have an age limit. However, many large institutions do have a specified no younger than limit. For example, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, I looked this up earlier and of course I didn't write it down. The National Archives in Washington, D.C. has an age limit of 14. They do not allow anyone in to receive a researcher card under the age of 14 and definitely not upstairs into the research reading room. So obviously if you have a child younger than that, they get to go into the bottom part, but they can't go upstairs. Many local facilities don't have such age restrictions, and essentially as long as your child is well behaved, follows rules, can be in a quiet research setting, they don't have a problem with you. But of course, then you have to know your kids. This is my next tip for you this evening. Some kids, you as a parent will know when they've hit that done button. And it's not fair to other researchers if you are there at a facility and your child basically goes done. That meltdown starts, the crying, the screaming, whatever their trigger points are. That's really the time to pack up and go. However, if you can keep your kids engaged, intrigued, educate them, that makes things go a lot better. I know for mine, when I take them researching with me, they each get to take a backpack with them. If they get bored of doing what mom's doing, they have coloring books, they have books to read, they have other things, electronic items, of course, with headphones that can keep them entertained for a few minutes, especially if it's the end of the day and I'm trying to pack up. But of course, that also goes back to the Know Your Repository section. If you take them into one where they're not allowed to have any bags or papers or anything, you need to be prepared for that. That's when the iPad and the DSs come in handy. But the big thing, and I kind of touched on this already, which is my third tip for you, is to get interactive with kids. If they are there, and they're not being forced to come. If it's not you couldn't find a sitter type situation, but they are kids who are actually genuinely intrigued, interested, want to learn, potentially, could be helpful. Like I love having a teenager. He can now reach things and go retrieve things for me. Keep them interactive and engaged in what you're doing. Talk to them about what you're looking up. Show them how to work the machines, how to use the computer to do book calls. I've taken my sons to the Library of Virginia, and we've got on the computer, and I show them how I request books from the stacks upstairs. I've showed them how to use the microfilm machines, what the different cabinets are, and how we go find reels. I've taken them into the archives there at the Library of Virginia, which is a no backpack, no paper zone. And they've got to see, not handle, but look at, and I've talked to them about the records I've pulled and what they are, and be able to see those original artifacts. That all helps to not only bring your family history home to them, but teaches them the knowledge if they want to do this when they get older. They already have the basis to keep going and to not have to start at zero like a lot of people do. They at least have a familiarity with uh, the rules and regulations at these places. And it's also important to teach them the etiquette of what is expected of you when you're in a place of research. You know, inside voices if you have small children. Hopefully by the time they are middle school, teenage age, if you say we're going to a library, they'll understand what that means. Smaller kids, early elementary school kids, you know, you'll have to talk to them about quiet feet and quiet voices if your schools do that. And how, you know, you have to respect other people and how this is a place of learning. And use the words and talk to your children the way that they would understand. Don't necessarily talk down to them. Kids are people too. They don't like to be talked down to. Just be honest and open and explain what's going on. And usually if you answer their questions and you do that, you don't have any problems. Now, another tip I have for you is sometimes you will have problems with staff or patrons who see you coming in with kids and you can see them groaning on the inside as you walk through the doors or come down the hallway. And you know, I kind of like to kill people with kindness. Not everybody has children. Not everybody understands that most of us will be bringing them with us because they have an interest in history and family history, in what we're doing, and they want to be a part of it as well. You have to, this is where it gets, you know, put your PC hat on and you think about how you have to deal with people in a polite and kind manner. You know, most people won't give you a hard time. As long as your kids can demonstrate that they are well-behaved, well-meaning, they know what they're doing, they are respectful, they can follow rules and all of that. So if you have a staff member who is concerned about your kids, don't cut them off. Don't be rude. Obviously, listen to their concerns. Try to make them feel like it's not an issue. And then sometimes in the past I've had to bribe my kids. Now listen, if we get through today, there's ice cream on the way home. But people, you know, I have had the dirty looks. I've had the stares. I've had the people look at me like, oh my God, why are you bringing them here? This is no place for a kid. And you've got to be able to have a little bit of a thick skin in going into that situation. Now, I have had the opposite also, where when we've packed up and getting ready to leave after a day of research at a library or an archive, where I've had people, members of staff or other patrons, come up to my boys and tell them what wonderful gentlemen they are, telling me how great it was to see kids there. And sometimes I wonder if those were the same people who may have had misgivings when they saw me walking in for the first time. So I hope that covers all of the big things. Those are some of the questions that people asked me. And I get these questions a lot since people know that I've gone frequently different places with my kids. It's not necessarily a place, I don't live in a place where I can find babysitters easily, especially during the day. Everybody works. I'm one of the few stay-at-home moms who is in the area. So you make do, you figure things out, and you keep on going. Now, I hope that answered everybody's questions out there, and I wish we could have had a little bit more time to talk and discuss with the other panelists that were supposed to be here tonight. All of them are moms who have kids and who have done research with their family members in the archives. Hopefully we can continue this discussion over on our Facebook page or here on the Google Plus page. And maybe we'll do a segment in an upcoming newsletter for it as well. If you do have any more questions or anything you don't think I touched on that you might have, you might like to know more about, please feel free to give me an email. It's at education@tnggn.org. You can find me on the group Facebook page as well, Next Gen Genealogy. And next month, I told you it's going to be short this time. Next month, we will be meeting on Wednesday, September 17th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be talking about technology for genealogy, and our guest for the evening will be Tammy Heps from treelines.com. So that's a really good one. I hope everybody comes and attends that. And if you have any questions for Tammy, please feel free to message me, email me, let me know on the Facebook page, and I will get those to her as well so she can be better prepared. And hopefully that will go for a full half an hour because we've only been able to do 15 minutes tonight. Well, everybody enjoy your evening. I'm going to go have dinner with my husband and sit on the couch probably for a while. And have a good evening. See you next month when we'll talk about technology for genealogy. And bye.